Hey everyone, this is Pallavi and I'm a chess coach. Today I'm going to show a game based on golden rules from the book called Logical Chess Move by Move by Irving Chenev. This game is very instructive for beginners to learn basic principles of chess, to learn logical reasons of every move, and also when and how to apply these principles. So let's start. This game was played between Theodor von Schieve and Richard Teichmann in 1907 in Berlin. And the opening was Gioco Piano. The chief object of all opening strategy is to get the pieces out quickly of the back rank and into active play. You cannot attack, let alone try to checkmate with one or two pieces. So you must develop all of them as each one has job to do. A good way to begin is to release two pieces at one stroke, and this can be done by advancing one of the center pawns. So white played e4. Now with this move, white anchored a pawn in the center, also making way for his bishop and queen to come out. White's next move, if white is allowed, will be d4. In that case, white will be controlling all these four squares in front of it. c5, d5, e5 and f5. This will prevent black from placing his pieces on these important squares. So after e4, black played e5. Now with this move, black is also controlling half of the center, making way for his bishop to come out. Now white played knight f3. Now knight developed towards the center. Now why all this stress on the center? Why is it so important? Well, pieces placed in the center enjoy the greatest freedom of action and have the wisest scope for their attacking powers. For example, this knight posted in the center is controlling 8 squares. But if you place a knight in the side, it's only controlling 4 squares. So whenever you are developing a piece, you must develop towards the center so that it will be controlling more squares. Now when the knight developed to f3, the knight will be also like defending the king side, and right now the knight is attacking the pawn on e5. So if possible, develop with an attack. Now black played knight c6. With this move, white has developed his knight and also towards the center, which is supporting the pawn on e5. Now white played bishop to c4. The bishop seizes the valuable diagonal, which is this one, and also attacks the pawn on f7, which is supported by the king. Now black played bishop c5. Now this is called Gioco Piano, the opening. It's an Italian opening, a very classical one, an old opening. And after bishop c5 on the square, the bishop commands an important diagonal, exerts pressure on the center and attacks a weak pawn. And this deployment confirms two golden rules for opening play. Place each piece as quickly as possible on the square where it is most effective. Move each piece only once in the opening. So these are the two principles, another two principles which we should follow. And after bishop c5, white played c3. Now with this move, white wants to support the advance of the d2 pawn to d4, so that this pawn will be protecting. Now black played queen e7. Black develops a piece and also stopping white from playing d4. Because if white plays d4, black will recapture with the pawn, e cross d4, c cross d4, and then queen cross e4 with a check on the king. Now that would gain black a pawn. So after queen e7, black did not play d4, and then white played castle. So after queen e7, castle, white postpones the advance of the d pawn and moves his king to a safer place. Another golden rules is castle as early as possible. Now the benefits of castling is that the king is now safe, and also the rook comes into action quickly. So after castle, black played d6, strengthening the center and opening the diagonal for the bishop, and also supporting the c5 bishop. So after d6, Now white played e4. A tricky move, d4. With this d4 move, white is attacking the bishop and also controlling more on the center. Now black played bishop to b6. If black had captured, that would not be good for black because white will recapture with his pawn. That would attack the bishop on c5 and white will have two pawns in the center. So after d6 and d4, black played bishop b6, simply retreating. Now white played a4. A tricky move but an illogical one because in the opening we should develop our pieces, not just move pawns. And now after a4, actually white is planning to play a5 in the next turn, which would attack the bishop on b6. And if your bishop captures pawn, and then pawn will push to d5, which will attack the knight, which is the defender of the bishop. And when you move the knight away, rook will capture the bishop. That would gain white a piece. And after a5, if knight captures pawn on a5, then rook captures knight, bishop captures rook, and queen a4 check. Next, white two pieces for a rook, because here white is giving check to the king and also attacking the bishop. So after a4, black played a6. Black prepares a retreat for the bishop. Now white played a5, attacking the bishop. Black played bishop a7, simply moving the bishop away. Now after that, white played h3. Now this kind of moves, h3 or g3, loosens the position of the pawns, which is defending the king, and weakens the structure permanently because you cannot move a pawn backward. Now, the fourth world chess champion Alexander Alekhine said, always try to keep the three pawns in front of your castled king as long as possible on their original squares. Also, when you are moving these pawns itself becomes target. So after h3, black played knight f6, developing the knight towards the center with the attack on the pawn on e4. Now white played d cross e5. White exchanges and opens up lines for his pieces. Unfortunately, this reacts in black's favor because it is opening up the diagonal for the black bishop. So there is another principle that open lines are to the advantage of the player whose development is superior. So here white is still yet to develop his pieces on the queen side. So he must not open lines immediately. When his development is done, then he should open lines. Now after d cross e5, black played knight cross e5. Beautifully centralized knight on e5. Now the knight is attacking the bishop on c4 and the defending knight on f3. So white played knight cross e5. Then black played queen cross e5. Now the queen dominates the center and attacking the pawn on e4. And if white wants to attack the queen, white cannot because this f2 pawn is pinned. White cannot play f4 because the bishop is pinning the pawn on f2. And now after queen cross e5, the queen can go to any part of the board quickly. So after queen cross e5, knight d2, white played knight d2. Now white is hoping that black would capture knight cross e5. In that case, knight cross e4, then white would recapture with the knight when queen captures, and then white will play rook e1, which will pin the black queen. Now after this, so obviously after knight d2, black did not capture the e4 pawn. Black played bishop cross h3. Now black is removing the pawn which was protecting the white king. Now as I said earlier that when you move pawns in front of your castle king, those pawns becomes target. So here black did not even castle. Black simply played bishop cross h3, sacrificing his bishop. Now when pawn captured bishop, black played queen g3 check, a crashing entrance. Since the f2 pawn is pinned by the bishop on f2, it cannot capture. Here black queen is perfectly safe here. Now since the black queen is giving check to the white king, white played king h1. Now black played queen cross h3 check, king g1, and then knight g4. Threatens to checkmate by playing queen h2 with the support of the knight. Now white played knight f3, guarding the h2 square. So after knight f3, now black played queen g3 check, king h1, and bishop cross f2. Now white resigned because now black is planning to play queen h3 check, knight h2, and queen cross h2 checkmate. And after bishop cross f2, if white captures with the rook, and then black can simply capture with the knight, and it's a checkmate. So from this game, we learned that center is very important part of the board, and also when you control the center, you control many squares, and you can move your pieces freely. And also after controlling the center, you must develop your pieces, and you should develop towards the center and also castle as early as possible. And do not move the pawns in front of your castled king. Keep it on their original squares as long as possible, and do not open up lines when you are behind in development. So I hope you learned something from this game, and also the games from this book are very instructive. You should go and check the games out. And in the next video, I'm going to show the second game from this book. I hope you learned something, and if you also go through this game, you're going to improve a lot in your game, especially the logical reasons. So please like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.